The Galactic Council was a powerful group of alien species that governed large areas of space. They were known for their vast resources and their unchallenged dominance over many worlds. But when they set their eyes on Earth, they made one serious mistake. They thought humans were weak, that Earth was just another small, insignificant planet with no hope of defending itself. On Earth, things were different. The people of Earth had faced struggles before, and they had always found a way to fight back. But now, the Galactic Council was going to test their limits. It all started when a fleet of alien ships entered Earth's orbit. The ships were enormous, shining with bright, unfamiliar colors. The aliens sent a message to Earth. "We demand your surrender. Your world's resources belong to the Galactic Council now. Refuse, and we will destroy your planet." The people of Earth had never seen anything like it. They watched on their screens, stunned. The aliens had come with a message of power, but there was something about their words that made the humans feel something else: anger. Captain Alex Harper stood in front of the council of military leaders, his face calm, but his heart racing. He was a young leader, but he had seen enough in his years of service to know that this moment was unlike any other. The aliens had no idea what they were up against. "They think we're weak," Harper said, his voice steady. "They think we will give up without a fight. But we are not like them. We have something they don't understand: our will to protect this planet." One of the senior officers spoke up. "They've got advanced technology, Captain. We don't stand a chance." Harper looked around the room, meeting the eyes of every officer. Underestimating us was their first mistake, but it will be their last. He turned to the communication officer. "Send them a message. Let them know we're not afraid." As the officer typed away, the message flashed on screens. Across the room, it was short, clear, and to the point. "You want war? Then watch your worlds burn." The message was sent to the aliens' fleet. A tense silence filled the room as they waited for a response. The officers around Harper exchanged nervous glances, unsure of what would happen next. But Harper wasn't worried. He had a plan, and it was already in motion. Over the next few hours, the entire world was alerted. The message had gone viral, shared by leaders, journalists, and citizens everywhere. People weren't scared, they were angry. They had been pushed too far, and now they were ready to fight in military bases across the globe. Teams of soldiers, engineers, and scientists began working together to prepare for the coming battle. They knew they had to act quickly. They were outgunned, but they had something the aliens didn't: the ability to adapt, to think outside the box. Back in the command center, Harper stood by the window, looking out over the city. The stars above seemed so far away, but soon they would feel much closer. The aliens had threatened Earth, and now humanity would show them the cost of making that mistake. "I've seen what we can do when we're pushed to the edge," Harper said quietly. "This isn't just about fighting for survival. It's about making sure they know that no one messes with Earth." Turned to face the officers, a fire burning in his eyes. "Prepare for the fight of your lives. We're going to show them what humans are capable of." Harper didn't expect the battle to be easy, but he knew one thing for sure: the aliens had no idea what they were about to face. Humanity would not be conquered. They would fight, and they would win. As the first wave of alien ships prepared to descend upon Earth, Captain Alex Harper stood tall, knowing that the fate of his planet rested in his hands. This would be a battle like no other, and the galaxy would never forget it. The tension in the air was thick as Captain Alex Harper watched Earth's military forces prepare for what seemed like an impossible battle. The Galactic Council had underestimated the power of humanity, and soon they would learn that mistake. The aliens had sent their fleet to Earth with one clear goal: to take what they wanted. They believed the human race was weak, easily intimidated, and too small to defend their home. But in just a few hours, humanity had shown a different side, one that the Galactic Council wasn't ready for. Harper stood in the command center with his senior officers, watching as the preparations were being made. Human technology was far behind the advanced alien weapons, but humans had something that no other species had: a drive to survive and the ability to think quickly. Earth's engineers and scientists had been working day and night to develop new defenses and weapons to counter the alien threat. Captain, we've managed to modify the weapon systems on the space fleet, Lieutenant Williams reported. We've made adjustments to improve our speed and maneuverability. Our engineers have developed a new energy shield as well. Harper nodded. Good. Make sure every ship gets the upgrades. We don't have time to waste. He turned to the map of Earth's defenses displayed on the large screen. The alien fleet was nearing, and every second counted. The humans were not only facing the invasion of their homeworld, but they were also up against an enemy that outclassed them in technology and firepower. Yet, as he looked around the room, Harper could see the determination in every soldier's eyes. They were ready. They were not afraid. We have to move quickly, Captain Harper said, turning back to his team. Send the signal to the fleet. We're going to meet them head-on. Across the globe, military leaders gave the order for Earth's forces to prepare for battle. Nations that had once been divided now stood united, all fighting for the same cause, to protect their home. In military bunkers and control rooms, soldiers and scientists alike worked in unison. The fear of losing their planet was replaced by something far stronger hope. The first human ships launched into space, cutting through the sky at unimaginable speeds. They were far from perfect, but they were all they had. The fleet consisted of every available ship, military, cargo, civilian, all now adapted for war. The massive alien ships that loomed above Earth seemed like giants, casting a long shadow over the planet. But Harper knew that humans had always been resilient. They had adapted before, and now they would adapt again. Captain, came the voice of Commander Rachel Hayes over the comms. We've made it to the outer atmosphere. The alien fleet is ahead, and they're preparing for engagement. What's the plan? Harper gripped the edge of his seat, his mind racing. The alien ships were much larger and more powerful, but humans had something they didn't: a fight for survival. Harper had been a soldier long enough to know that victory wasn't always determined by the size of the army or the power of weapons. It was about how you used what you had. Commander Hayes, we go in fast and hit them hard, Harper replied. We use speed. Our weapons are not as powerful, but we can outmaneuver them. Take down their communication towers first, then disable their shields. Once we've broken their defenses, we'll hit them with everything we've got. The fleet moved into position. The air felt heavy with anticipation, but also with purpose. Earth's forces were not just fighting for their own survival, they were fighting for their future. As the alien fleet loomed in front of them, humanity's response was clear. They would not bow to anyone. Not now, not ever. Harper's voice came over the comms to every ship, uniting them for the battle ahead. This is it, people. It's our chance to show the galaxy what we're made of. Stick to the plan, and we'll make it through. The battle began with a deafening roar as both fleets clashed in space. The alien ships opened fire first, their weapons powerful enough to destroy entire cities with one shot. But the humans were ready. Their ships dodged and weaved, using their superior speed to avoid most of the alien fire. The human ships responded with everything they had. Lasers and energy blasts shot into the alien fleet, striking their shields with a force that shook the whole battle. It wasn't enough to break through, but it was enough to slow them down. Humans had never fought like this before. Not on this scale, but they were learning fast. The shock of the first few hits had passed, and now they were in the fight of their lives. As the battle raged on, Captain Harper watched from the command center. Every decision counted. Every movement was critical. The alien ships were powerful, but the human fleet had something that the invaders didn't understand: a deep burning will to protect their home. This was their planet. These were their people, and they would do whatever it took to make sure they stayed safe. Harper's eyes narrowed as he saw an opening in the alien formation. The aliens were starting to panic. They weren't used to facing an enemy that fought back like this. They had expected an easy victory. Now they were starting to see just how dangerous humanity could be. Harper spoke into his communicator. Push forward, we've got them on the ropes. This is the moment we've been waiting for. The tide of the battle had begun to turn. The aliens were no longer sure of themselves, and the humans were fighting harder than ever. Time in their lives, they had a chance to win. And as Harper looked out at the vast expanse of space, He knew one thing for certain. This was only the beginning. The battle had begun. The vast blackness of space was filled with flashes of light as Earth's fleet fought back against the alien invaders. Captain Alex Harper watched from the command center as his ships maneuvered through the chaos, avoiding blasts and returning fire. The alien fleet was powerful, but humanity's speed and determination were proving to be a challenge. Harper knew the odds were against them. The alien ships were massive, far larger than any of Earth's warships, and their weapons were advanced, capable of causing enormous damage. But the humans were resilient. They had been pushed into a corner. Now they would fight back with everything they had. "Captain, the alien fleet is launching more drones," Commander Rachel Hayes reported. "They're swarming our ships. We're losing some of our smaller vessels." Harper's mind raced. The drones were small, fast, and nearly impossible to hit. They could overwhelm the human fleet if they weren't stopped. But there was something that humans had that the aliens didn't: the ability to think on their feet. "We can't outgun them," Harper said, his voice calm but filled with determination. "We need to outsmart them." He turned to his tactical. "Officer, get our fighters into formation. We'll make it look like we're retreating. Draw them in close." The plan was risky. The alien fleet had a powerful advantage in numbers and firepower. But Harper knew that sometimes in war, you had to take risks. He trusted his team. They had trained for moments like this. "Understood, Captain," the officer said. "We'll put it into action right away." The fleet began to move. The human ships pretended to retreat, their engines flaring as they sped away from the alien drones. The aliens, seeing this, took the bait. They followed closely, eager to finish off the retreating humans. But as the distance between the two sides closed, the humans launched their counterattack. "Now," Harper shouted. The human ships turned sharply, revealing their hidden fighters. They darted out from behind the larger ships, flying at high speeds toward the alien drones. The drones, unable to adjust quickly enough, found themselves surrounded. The human fighters used their speed and agility to tear through the drones, destroying them one by one. Harper watched the battle unfold on the screen, his heart pounding in his chest. The aliens were scrambling, trying to adjust to the sudden change in the battle. The human fleet had caught them off guard, but Harper knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would adapt quickly, and the real fight was yet to come. "Captain," Lieutenant Williams said, "the first wave of drones is down, but they're sending reinforcements." "We're not out of danger yet," Harper nodded. "I never expected this to be easy. Keep pushing forward. We're not stopping until we've sent them back where they came from." As the battle continued, it became clear that Earth's forces were more than just a nuisance to the alien invaders. Despite their technological superiority, the aliens were struggling to cope with the unpredictability of human tactics. Every time they thought they had the upper hand, the humans turned the tables, using clever tricks and fast thinking to turn the tide in their favor. But the aliens weren't giving up. Their main fleet had begun to regroup, and their attacks became more coordinated. One of their larger ships moved in close to Earth's flagship, the Valar, its weapons locked onto the human ship. The alien ship fired, and the impact sent a shockwave through the human fleet. The Valar shook violently as it took the hit, but it didn't break. Harper's hand tightened around the armrest of his seat as the alarms blared, signaling damage to the ship. "Report," he ordered. "We've lost shields on the starboard side," Lieutenant Williams replied. "We're leaking fuel, and we're taking heavy fire from the alien ship." Harper's mind raced. They couldn't afford to lose the Valor. It was their flagship, their symbol of hope. Without it, the fleet would fall apart. "Divert all power to the shields," Harper commanded. "Get us out of here. We need to break their line." The Valor sped away, its engines roaring as it dodged more incoming fire. Harper's eyes locked onto the alien ship, which was now in pursuit, determined to finish off the human fleet. But the Valar was faster, and Harper knew the ship well. It could take a beating and keep fighting. "Commander Hayes, prepare the main cannon," Harper said. "We're going to turn the tide." The Valor angled itself into position, its main cannon charging up. The alien ship was closing in fast, but it didn't anticipate the human ship's next move. With a burst of energy, the Valor fired, sending a powerful blast toward the alien ship. The alien ship was struck head-on, and the explosion lit up the dark void of space. Ship staggered, then exploded into a mass of debris. The alien fleet gasped in shock as their leadership was destroyed in one blow. The humans had struck a massive blow to their morale. "We've got them," Harper whispered, but he knew the war wasn't over. This victory was just one battle in a much larger war. As the aliens pulled back, Harper gave a brief nod to his crew. The fight was far from over, but humanity had just proven something. They were not the weak, helpless species the aliens had believed them to be. They had fought with everything they had, and for the first time the alien fleet was questioning whether this war would be as easy as they had hoped. The battle in space had been fierce, but the humans were proving their strength. The alien fleet, once confident in its superiority, was beginning to show signs of uncertainty. Earth's forces, though smaller and less advanced, fought with a relentless spirit that no one could have predicted. But the aliens, though shaken, were not ready to give up. In the command center of the Valar, Captain Alex Harper stood, his hands clasped behind his back, watching the chaotic battle unfold on the screens. The alien ships continued to fire relentlessly, but the humans were fighting back with everything they had. The human fleet was battered, but not broken. Captain Lieutenant Williams called out, "The alien forces are retreating. They're reorganizing their lines. They're preparing for something bigger." Harper narrowed his eyes. The aliens were not running, they were regrouping. They were planning to strike back harder. The fight had just begun, and now the true test of humanity's resolve was about to come. "We need to make them think twice," Harper said, his voice steady. "Prepare the secondary fleet. We're going to hit them hard before they have a chance to reorganize." As Earth's forces readied themselves for another assault, the tension grew thick in the command center. The aliens had underestimated humanity's ability to fight back, but now the humans were preparing to do something unexpected. They wouldn't just defend their home, they would take the fight. To the aliens, Harper knew that the aliens still had the upper hand in terms of raw firepower. But humanity had one thing the aliens didn't: the drive to protect their world. At all costs. And that was something that couldn't be measured by technology alone. Captain Commander Rachel Hayes said, her voice tense. "We found something strange in the alien fleet's formation. Looks like they're building up energy. It's too big to be a standard weapon." Harper's heart skipped a beat. The aliens were preparing something massive, something that could turn the tide of the battle in an instant. Whatever it was clear they intended to end the war. In one blow, "Get me everything we need to know about that weapon," Harper ordered. Now, the crew worked quickly, piecing together the alien fleet's plans. The massive weapon was unlike anything Earth had ever seen. It seemed to harness the power of a star, collecting immense energy to be used in a single devastating strike. If the weapon was completed, Earth would have no way of defending against it. "Captain," Lieutenant Williams called out again, "the weapon is nearly ready." "It's going to fire in 5 minutes," Harper's mind raced. They didn't have much time to stop it. He turned to his tactical officers. "What's the best course of action? How do we destroy this weapon?" "Could target the energy core," one officer suggested. "But it's well guarded. The best chance we have is to get close enough to disrupt their power flow." Harper nodded. He had faced dangerous odds before, but this was different. The fate of humanity rested on a single moment, and he would do whatever it took to protect Earth. "We don't have time to play it safe," he said. "Send everything we've got. We're going to take down that weapon, no matter what." The fleet of human ships moved forward, engines firing at full power. As they approached the alien fleet, Harper could feel the weight of the decision in the pit of his stomach. They were about to make their most dangerous move yet. "Captain, we've got incoming fire," Commander Hayes shouted. The alien fleet opened fire, but this time, the humans were ready. They dodged and weaved, using their speed to avoid the worst of the blasts. But they couldn't avoid it all. Several ships took direct hits, their hulls groaning under the pressure, but they kept going. Every human ship pressed forward, each one determined to protect their home. The alien weapon was in sight. It was enormous, a glowing core suspended in space, surrounded by a maze of energy shields. It was a terrifying sight, but it only fueled the humans' determination. They had to stop it. "We're in position," Harper said. "Prepare to fire on my mark." The tension in the command center was unbearable. Every second that passed felt like an eternity. The alien weapon was charging, its power building to a dangerous level. Harper knew they couldn't wait any longer. "Now," he shouted. The human ships fired their weapons all at once, each blast striking the alien shields. The impact shook the enemy fleet, but the shields held firm. Harper gritted his teeth. "We're so close," yet the weapon was still charging. "Captain, we've got a clear shot at the core." One of the officers called out, "Take it," Harper ordered. The human ships fired one last concentrated blast. The energy hit the alien weapon's core directly. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sudden, explosive burst of light, the alien weapon exploded, sending shock waves through space. The aliens were caught off guard. Their weapon was destroyed, and their forces faltered. The humans had done it. They had stopped the weapon. But the battle was far from over. Captain Lieutenant Williams said, "The aliens are retreating. They're pulling back." Harper let out a deep breath. It wasn't a victory yet, but it was a turning point. The aliens had seen just how far humanity was willing to go to protect its home. "We've made them think twice," Harper said, his voice full of quiet determination. "Now, we finish this." The tide had turned, and the aliens were starting to realize that humanity was not the weak species they had once thought. The war was far from over, but Earth's forces had just dealt a massive blow, and the galaxy would never forget the day humanity fought back. The alien fleet had retreated, but they were not giving up. Their forces had been shaken, but their resolve was still strong. Earth's forces had dealt them a major blow by destroying their weapon, but Harper knew the war was not over. The aliens would come back, and this time they would be ready for everything the humans could throw at them. Captain Alex Harper stood on the bridge of the Valor, staring out at the stars. The battle had left its mark on the fleet. Ships were damaged, and many had taken heavy losses, but Earth had proven something important. They were not going to be pushed around. They were ready to fight for their future. "Captain, we've detected another wave of alien ships," Commander Rachel Hayes said, her voice tense. "They're coming in fast, and they're much bigger than before." Harper's heart sank. The aliens had regrouped, and now they were bringing everything they had. It was clear that the final battle was about to begin. "Get all ships ready," Harper ordered. "We're not backing down. We'll make our stand right here." The human fleet was small compared to the alien armada, but they were fierce and determined. Earth's forces had been through a lot, but they were ready to give everything they had. Harper knew that this battle would be different. It would decide the fate of Earth, and he couldn't afford to lose. "Captain, they've started firing," Lieutenant Williams reported. "Their weapons are powerful, but we've managed to dodge most of their shots so far." Harper nodded. The aliens were aggressive, but the humans had learned how to use their speed to avoid direct hits. But that wouldn't be enough this time. The aliens were learning too, and they would adapt to the human tactics. "We need to strike first," Harper said. "Take down their lead ship. If we can destroy their command center, we can disrupt their coordination." The human fleet moved forward, weaving in and out of enemy fire. The aliens continued to unleash their weapons, but the human ships were quick, avoiding the worst of the damage. They were getting closer, inch by inch. Harper watched the lead alien ship on the monitor. It was massive, covered in sharp edges and strange markings. The ship was the heart of the alien fleet, and if they could destroy it, they would have a chance at victory. "Get us closer," Harper ordered. "Prepare the main cannon. We're going to hit them hard." The Valor pushed forward, its engines roaring as it cut through space. The alien fleet responded with more fire, but the human ships dodged and returned fire, focusing all their weapons on the lead alien ship. Harper could feel the tension building. They were so close. "Captain, we're in range," Commander Hayes said, locked onto their command center. "Fire!" Harper shouted. The Valor fired its main cannon, a powerful blast of energy that shot through the darkness of space and struck the alien-led ship. The explosion was massive, lighting up the entire battlefield. The alien ship shook violently, and for a moment, the battle seemed to freeze in time. Then, the ship exploded. The shockwave rippled through space, sending debris flying in all directions. The alien fleet was thrown into disarray, their coordination broken. The humans had struck a devastating blow, but the aliens were not finished yet. They still had power, and they would not back down without a fight. Captain Lieutenant Williams said, "The alien ships are pulling back. They're retreating, but they're not leaving the battlefield. They're regrouping for one final push." Harper knew this was the moment that would decide everything. The aliens had taken a heavy loss, but they were not finished. If the humans were going to win, they would have to act fast. He turned to his crew, his voice steady but filled with purpose. "We've come this far," Harper said. "Now we finish this. We will not let them destroy our world. We fight until the very end." The final wave of alien ships charged forward, their weapons aimed at Earth's forces. But this time, the humans were ready. They had been through so much already, and they had learned from every battle. The human fleet moved into position, and the battle began again. The fight was intense, with explosions and fire lighting up the sky. The alien ships fired relentlessly, but the humans had adapted. They moved with precision, hitting the alien ships where it hurt. Each blast from the human fleet was a step closer to victory. Harper watched from the command center as the battle raged on. His heart pounded in his chest, but he kept his focus. The aliens were losing ground, their ships falling one by one. The human fleet, though battered and broken, fought with everything they had. They weren't just defending Earth. They were defending their right to exist in the galaxy, Captain. "We've taken down their main fleet," Commander Hayes said, her voice filled with disbelief. "They're retreating. The war is over." Harper let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Aliens were retreating, their once mighty fleet broken and scattered. Earth had won. It had been a hard-fought battle, but humanity had proven that they were not to be underestimated. Harper stood tall, looking out at the stars. The war was over, and Earth had won. The galaxy would never forget the day humanity fought back and showed the true strength of the human spirit. "We've won," Harper said quietly, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. "But we must remain strong. The galaxy now knows that we will fight for our home no matter the cost." As Earth's fleet celebrated their victory, they knew that the battle was over, but the journey was far from finished. The universe would always remember the day the humans stood up to the alien empire and proved that even the smallest of species could defend their world against impossible odds.